Hola mi gente and welcome back. There are many moments in my life that I can say, wow, I'm not an easily embarrassed person. I mean, honestly, I record myself dress up as a man singing Gasolina in English every week, and that doesn't embarrass me. But you know what does embarrass me? Watching my past self. You see, in my life, I get a lot of really nice compliments, especially from you guys, saying that my Spanish is pretty good. In fact, there have even been some times in my life that I've been mistaken for a native speaker, and there's nothing that feels better than people thinking that Spanish is my first language. And one comment that I've even gotten sometimes is people saying that I'm faking being a gringa and really that Spanish is like my native language and that my accent in English is weird, and it all shows that I'm a fake English speaker, I guess. But let me tell you guys, that is not true. My Spanish has not always been good, and recently I was on my phone looking through my old voice memos and I found something that sparked a sense of cringe, a sense of dread, a sense of vergüenza in me that I can't even explain, or I can't even begin to explain. Which is that I found a bunch of old media of when I was first learning Spanish, and I decided to not watch them until now because I wanted to record my live reaction to what I used to sound like in Spanish. To be honest, I'm terrified to do this. It's really hard for me to look back at these times because my Spanish was not good, and it's pretty embarrassing, it's pretty cringy, but for the sake of your entertainment and hopefully to make a stronger point about my Spanish learning journey, I'm gonna do this for all of you today. So I have a couple of different sources here. I have an old video of a Spanish project that I did, I have some audios of me practicing in class, and I have also some of my old TikToks from when I used to speak Spanish very differently. So I guess let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the first video that I found related to how I used to speak Spanish is actually, I think, the oldest example that I have of me learning Spanish. I actually started learning Spanish around the age of 14 or so. So honestly, quite late in my life. But what I do have here is, I guess the earliest video that I have of me speaking Spanish, which was my sophomore year of high school. I don't want to watch it, I don't want to watch it. Spanish class was so random in high school because instead of doing like exams, our teachers would just give us like really random projects that we had to do. And I remember that this year in my Spanish class, my teacher did happen to get pregnant like the first month of the year and then disappeared. And the sub that we got was really bad. So my Spanish at this point in my life was very bad as well. But this project was really random. They made us make like a newscast in Spanish. And so me and my classmates made this, and let's, I guess, just watch it. Okay, here's what also stresses me out about watching me at this time. Not only do I believe that, I don't know, yeah, I'm gonna watch this, but my accent is bad. What most bothers me are my grammatical mistakes, because why did my teacher not let us know that saying SDS in this case doesn't really make sense? Oh, and there we are. Okay, let me put it into perspective. For me at this time in my life, the funniest joke that I could have possibly made for my entire Spanish class was a photo of me and my peers edited into a newscasting room with what looks to be Guy Fieri and Bob Duncan. Why? I don't know. I thought this was gonna be a hit smash joke and nobody laughed at it. And then people asked me if I was popular in high school. Not at all. Me llamo Maddie y hoy tenemos muchas noticias.
Este fin de semana hubo un partido de fútbol con...
Okay, whoa. You can see here the like horrible green screen background that I set up in my mother's living room. I don't even know what this set is, but I wasn't editing Queen at the time, and wow.
Ay, Dios mío, últimas noticias, un terremoto está ocurriendo mismo.
Ay, Dios mío, un terremoto está ocurriendo ahora mismo. Incredible writing on my part. Wow, my accent's really bad. Like really bad. And this isn't mean to like hate on anyone who doesn't have a good accent in Spanish, but I worked so hard to get rid of my accent that it's just strange hearing what I used to sound like.
Hola otra vez. Hubo un terremoto y un tsunami hoy. ¡Qué horrible!
Hubo un terremoto y un tsunami hoy. Nice. And also, I don't understand why at the time the funniest joke possible was just saying "I" a million times, but it was slay. It was slay. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, where's my face?
Muchas ciudades en California. Y el tsunami era 300 pies. ¡Ay, muy alto!
¡Ay, muy alto! Why am I on fire? Why are we saying I every 3 seconds like this is an anime? I don't understand why I thought this was like Spanish. Got me laughing. Necesitamos terminar esta noticia. Qué vergüenza, de verdad.
Adiós, chicos.
Hasta luego. Wow, that was incredible. Did I enjoy watching that? Not at all. In fact, this is a video that I've been avoiding for many years of my life. This is like 10 years ago now, which is so crazy to look at. Yeah, that Spanish project, I don't even remember what grade I did on it, but I distinctly remember thinking it was so funny when I edited it, and then nobody laughed. But also we're like a room full of 15-year-olds, so what did I expect? Okay, so this next part truly, genuinely, very much stresses me out to listen to. And these are also things that I have not listened to in a very long time. In high school, I took 4 years of Spanish, and my last year of Spanish was called AP Spanish 4. And if you're from the US, you've probably heard of AP classes, but it was basically like a college level course where we had to prepare for this crazy hard exam at the end of the year where we had to practice our Spanish. And some of the things that we had to do to prepare for this exam were recording audios of ourselves doing conversaciones simuladas, like simulated conversations where the audio would beep and they would talk to you and then you had to reply in a certain amount of time. And I didn't even know that I had these on my phone until recently. I was looking back at some old audios and I found these. I have no idea what's in these, by the way, so I'm a little scared to listen to them. De verdad me da pánico esto, but I'm doing it for you. So yeah, I would have probably been 17 or so at this time, so I guess let's just find out how my conversación simulada went.
¿Sabes que acabo de ser aceptado en la misma universidad a la que vas a ir tú?
Wow.
¿Qué piensas de la idea de mudarte a una residencia universitaria?
Felicidades, Raúl, soy muy
What? Why am I talking like that? I know that at this time my voice did not sound like that. I don't know if, like in Spanish, I just didn't have the ability to talk normal. Felicidades por tu cosa. I hate this. He's asking me in this conversation whether or not I am excited to, or if I'm open to the idea of living at my school's dormitory, which by the way I turned out doing. I mean, this is right before I actually moved to college, so I'm curious to know what my thoughts were about this at the time.
emocionada para usted.
Why am I talking to him in usted? This is my friend.
Quiero vivir en la universidad porque me importa mucho tener amigos diferentes.
Quiero vivir en la universidad porque me importa mucho tener amigos. Qué profunda, eh? I was so profound with that thought.
Del mundo en mi universidad. Es importante para mí, pero estoy muy emocionada para asistirlo.
Estoy muy emocionada.
¿Te diste cuenta de que ahora tendremos que compartir el cuarto con alguien? ¿Qué características o hábitos debería tener esa persona?
I don't know.
Me importa mucho que la persona...
I really hate the way I sound in this one, you guys. Like, this is maximum cringe possible. Qué vergüenza. I mean, okay, I need to be nice. Like they say, be nice to your inner younger child. No, I need to bully my younger child because what's going on? I've taken 4 years of Spanish at this point. What's crazy to me as well is like looking back on my Spanish learning journey, I really like consider in my head how far I've come, right? Because when I think about it, sometimes I think, oh yeah, by the time I was in year 4 of Spanish, I was probably speaking really well. No, like not at all. So I guess it goes to prove how far I've come since then, but it's also pretty crazy to think that, yeah, my Spanish was not on par at this point.
Es muy amable y siempre se queda en su propia lado del cuarto.
Me, I said, honestly, all I care about is that they don't suck and that they stay on their own side of the room. I wanted my space, okay? Que se quede en su lado.
También me importa mucho que no es una
Subjunctive didn't exist to me, I guess.
persona que no es amable.
Y si no te llevaras bien con tu compañero o compañera, ¿qué harías?
No sé.
Yeah, I don't know.
Depende de la persona. Puedes hablar con ellos Y también
Puedes hablar con ellos. I feel like at this point in the conversation, I was just like hoping to fill the 5-second space that I had to do, and I was just hoping to find something.
puedes adaptarse a la situación. Es diferente lo que
Situación.
piense, pero depende. Cada situación.
Ya veo. ¿Y qué
Okay.
te parece la idea de comer en la cafetería de la universidad?
Ooh, I'm curious to know what I said here because I hated my school's cafeteria food at my university, and I didn't even know about that yet.
No quiero mucho porque he oído que
I knew it.
la comida no es muy bueno, pero depende
comida
de
no
la
es muy bueno.
universidad. Tengo que tratarlo y
Tengo que probarlo, amiga.
tengo que expresar, pero me interesa.
Pero, me interesa. That makes sense. Yeah. Me interesa. Ay. This gives me like war flashbacks, honestly, listening to these conversaciones simuladas, because it's crazy now from a perspective of someone who's fluent in Spanish that such an easy question. But I remember at the time, like, getting stressed about, shoot, how am I gonna fill these 10 seconds that I have to fill just talking to a robot, you know? That's crazy. This next one is called Yikes Español. Let's find out.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Te estuve buscando todo el santo día.
Whoa.
¿Por qué no me llamaste?
Oh, lo siento, estaba muy ocupada. Estoy
Not me talking with this tóxico. Oye, te está buscando todo el santo día. Lo siento. Estaba ocupada. Girl, mándalo a la chucha. What are you doing?
bien, pero tengo un poco sueño porque estoy cansada. No dormí mucho ayer, pero lo siento que no te puede llamar.
Bueno.
Te quería decir que lamentablemente no puedo ir a tu fiesta el sábado.
Oh, porque no puedo.
The way you can hear the whole class go, oh! No one knew what to say, so the way to fill this 10-second gap was to just say, oh, as long as you could.
Creí que puedes ir. Estoy muy triste que no puedes ir.
Estoy muy triste.
Va a ser muy divertido y vamos a fiestar.
He's missing out. Vamos a fiestar. Yep.
Mucho comida. Oh,
Es que una prima mía celebra sus 15 años y ya sabes, habrá una gran fiesta. Tendré que llevar un traje formal y bailar. Odio bailar y encima...
Okay, this other guy's so negative. Yeah, sorry, I have to go to my cousin's quinceañera, and I hate dancing, by the way. Okay, then don't go. Hello?
¿Qué me aconsejarías para pasarlo bien?
no sé, señor, no te puedo ayudar.
No sé, señor, no te puedo ayudar. Not me treating him like usted. Sorry, I actually don't know what to say here, so I'm just gonna say I can't help you.
Es posible que pueda
Okay, there's some subjunctive.
hacer algo que pueda hablar con tus padres y estar.
Además, todavía no le he comprado nada a mi prima. ¿Tienes alguna idea para un regalo de quinceañera?
Sí, puedes
I knew I had no idea what to say here. What should you buy your prima? Puedes.
pagar para un regalo para tu tía, pero
Who's talking about his tía? I definitely didn't understand this question.
puedes comprar un vestido, regalos buenos.
Regalos buenos. Hey, I actually don't know what to buy my cousin for her quinceañera. What do you think I should buy her? I don't know, like good presents for your aunt.
Mira, te llamaré durante la semana para ver si salimos juntos el próximo fin de semana.
Sí, súper bueno.
Sí, super bueno. Dude, he just treated you like crap. Why are you saying yes?
Podemos hacer mucho. Gracias por la invitación. Te quiero mucho y
What? Why did I just say te quiero mucho at the end of this conversation? I don't even know him. I was treating him like usted, and now I'm saying te quiero mucho. Girl, I was all over the place. Qué vergüenza. Madre mía. I talk so weird. I don't know. I think it's like getting a lens into a past that I don't even know existed. You know, like that is not me. That's another person. It's so strange that nowadays it's so easy for me to have a conversation in Spanish. Like my accent doesn't sound too bad. You know, I obviously still make many mistakes to this day in Spanish, but hearing this, it's like I don't even recognize who that is. No idea. As a gringa myself who has learned Spanish from the bottom up, I know how hard it can truly be to go from memorizing vocab to actually having real conversations in your second language. And one of the things that makes a huge difference is actually practicing with real people rather than just memorizing something. And that's why I think that Busuu is a super helpful tool. Busuu is a great tool for learning a language, whether it's for school, traveling, or even connecting with your family. You can actually practice with native speakers right in the app, which feels super authentic and actually prepares you for real conversation. And the courses are actually designed by experts, so you're not just left to put the pieces together yourself. And their AI system gives you instant feedback, which helps with pronunciation and catching mistakes right away. I also love that the lessons are short because if you're a busy person like me, you might not have more than about 10 minutes in your day, which is perfect with Busuu. For me, learning and speaking Spanish has always been about connecting with other cultures, and Busuu makes that process feel so much more approachable. So if you want to start learning a language, you can register with Busuu and start for free. Or you can also try their 7-day premium trial if you want to unlock everything that they have in store. All right, back to the video. Okay, this next one that I'm gonna listen to, I have no context of what is gonna be in this. All of these are just called Spanish is fun, Yikes Español. But this one apparently is Spanish is fun. So maybe I'm enjoying it more at this point.
Tienes 2 minutos para grabar tu presentación.
Okay, so this one is like a presentation, I believe. They used to give us like topics, random topics, where you had to compare your culture to a culture of Latin America. And I imagine I prepared something, so let's see what I have to talk about.
Buenos días, me gustaría discutir la belleza y la estética en dos comunidades diferentes.
Oh no. Okay, so here we're going to be talking about the differences in aesthetics.
Mi comunidad de los Estados Unidos y la comunidad hispanohablante de México. Para empezar,
Also, why am I talking like a TV host? Hola, mi nombre es Mali y me gustaría hablar hoy de algo muy importante.
en mi comunidad, la gente prefiere ropa que es básico y simple,
La gente prefiere la ropa básica y simple, ok.
con los colores como negro o gris. Sin embargo, en la otra México se llevan colores más como rojo, azul y rosado.
So my point is that in the US we wear boring ass colors and in Mexico they wear fun colors. I guess. I don't know. I feel like the US has like a very wide variety of clothing that we wear. But sure.
La similitud principal entre dos comunidades es que prefieren personas limpias, que no son sucios y más.
One thing that's similar between the US and Mexico is that we prefer people who aren't disgusting. Qué pensamiento más profundo. Like, I think they probably gave us not enough time to prepare this, and I was like, shit, I don't know. Both people prefer women who aren't dirty. Hey, that's honestly true.
Para concluir, hay muchas similitudes y diferencias entre los dos, México y los Estados Unidos. Como pueden ver, es importante aprender que los dos tienen similitudes y diferencias.
Like, this is so stressful to watch because what do you mean I just said? You know, there's similarities and differences between these two countries. And something important to recognize is that there's similarities and differences. You know what I feel like when there's like the Miss Universe pageant or like Miss America and they don't know how to answer a question, so they just repeat themselves a lot? I feel like that listening to this. That's so bad. What was I thinking? Wow. Those were extremely hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. These audios were ones that I had like strongly avoided for a very long time in my life, and when I came across them, it was like truly I wanted to delete every single one. But in a way it is, I guess, special listening to this because wow, my Spanish was so different at the time. I mean, all the grammatical mistakes that I'm making, my accent is totally different. I don't even know where to start. For the last few videos that I want to go over today, we're going to be jumping a little bit forward in time, okay? So we're leaving high school. Unfortunately, I don't really have like too much media from college itself of me in my college Spanish classes. But what I do have are some of my earlier TikToks. And if you've been around for a while, you know that I started posting TikToks back in like 2021, just talking about my experience being an English teacher in Spain. And most of my account was actually very Spain focused. And these are also videos that I haven't really revisited since posting them actually, because I don't tend to look back very often on old videos of myself. I just find it weird. But something really interesting about this time in my life is that it was probably the most Spanish that my accent has ever sounded. Nowadays, I'm pretty much only surrounded by people from Latin America, so obviously my accent has transformed into what it is today. And I also would say that my accent's pretty solidified. I don't tend to like morph it as much anymore into where I'm living. However, at this time, I was living in Madrid and I was surrounded by Madrileños all day. And so my accent sounds super Spanish and it's super weird to listen to. So let's just jump into me in my Spain era. Okay, so this first video is from a series of videos that I did at this time in the beginning of my content creation era, which is where I would make videos asking Spanish people questions about their country. And I called it Preguntas de una guiri viviendo en España. Guiri, by the way, in Spain is the word for gringo. And so, yeah, this was questions from a foreigner. Let's see what I have to ask. Oh my goodness.
Que tengo para españoles, parte 3, I think. Pregunta número 1. ¿Por qué el alcohol es más barato que el agua?
Why do I have Titi me preguntó in the background of this video? Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Hey, question number 1. Why is alcohol cheaper than water?
Una copita de vino, una cerveza is cheaper than water. Girl, I need water. I'm thirsty. Otra cosa, el agua. ¿Por qué el agua nunca viene con hielo? I like my water.
¿Por qué el agua nunca viene con hielo? Wow, my accent's so Spanish. It's crazy to think back that at this time, like I wasn't forcing a Spanish accent in Spanish, obviously, but I was so surrounded by Spanish people that it was like impossible to not talk like them. Another thing I'm noticing is that my English is really bad. Which is crazy because obviously English is my first language. However, I think just because I was teaching English all the time to non-native English speakers, I kind of like unconsciously mimicked their English. And this is a time that truly I look back and I think, wow, I sound foreign.
Ahora mismo en Madrid hace un calor que te mueres.
Hace un calor que te mueres. Joder.
Vestido porque hace calor. Porque veo mucha gente andando por la calle con...
¿Por qué veo mucha gente andando por la... Ay, era muy española, ¿eh? ¿Por qué hay mucha gente caminando por la calle y que no se dan cuenta que hace calor?
My next question. ¿Por qué el himno nacional de España no tiene letra? All you guys do is just like lol, 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 lol.
¿Por qué el himno nacional de España no tiene letra? That's a question that I still have to this day. Spaniards, comment down below, please. Okay, moving on to the next video. This next one is me in my room in Spain, again, explaining las cosas que más me gustan de España. Joder, siendo extranjera. What are the things that I most like about Spain? And let's see if I put a super loud song in the background so that no one can hear me again.
Me queda muy poco tiempo aquí en España. O sea, como 4 semanas me quedan aquí. Y la verdad que me da mucha pena, ya que me lo he pasado genial aquí y tengo...
What the heck? That's a Spanish person. Who is that? That's Maria. That's not Maddie. Oh my god, la verdad es que lo he pasado genial aquí. Like now when I do that voice, I'm like half joking, right? Like that's so extremely Spanish. But at this time, I literally talked like this, which is really weird. Not weird, the accent, but weird that I talked like that. This was at a time actually that I was about to leave Spain after my time teaching there, and I was really sad about it. But I'm happy that I came back.
Volver a mi país, a vivir en California de nuevo. Pero hoy quería hablar de las cosas que más me gustan de España, después de haber vivido en Madrid y también en Sevilla. La cosa que más me gusta de España es la gente. Definitivamente, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience.
Lo que más me gusta de España es la gente, joder. It's really special to see how at this time also I was so illusioned and excited and in love with Spain after living there. Spain has like been a huge part in my story of learning Spanish and everything, but it's also interesting to see how, especially at this time living in Spain, I had such a wonderful experience with Spanish people. And obviously since I also talked a little bit more Spanish, I think I hadn't yet experienced any sort of like judgment for being foreign or anything, but it is interesting that actually this time that I went to Spain this year with my Latino, you know, Chilean sounding accent, that I did get a little bit more, not negativity per se, but people kind of talking about how my accent was not the vibe anymore. So that's pretty interesting. But it's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy to look back at this and hear how I talk. It's weird.
Y bueno, entre los amigos que tengo de aquí, la gente con quien vivo,
I can't
mis
even hear
alumnos,
myself.
los españoles son
Mis alumnos.
buena gente, siempre. Second thing that I love about Spain, food and drinks are so cheap.
I mean, yeah, it's cheap if you have American money, but I was also broke at this time, so I don't know why I'm talking about why the food is so cheap. Girl, you have no money. What do you mean? Yeah, that was a really fun video to make, and my English again sounds so not normal, which is funny. Let's see this next one. Here, I'm gonna tell the story of how I moved from California to Spain twice. Now, this video is pretty interesting. Again, it's at a time that I was really just starting to blow up on TikTok and everything, and so I think people were asking a lot of questions about me, and I wanted to tell my story. Let's see.
La historia de Maddie. ¿Por qué
Hoy voy a contar la historia de Maddie.
estoy aquí? ¿Por qué hablo español? Why is my English weird? Why is my Spanish weird? And
Your
why am I in
English
love
is
with
weird.
Spain? Bueno, originalmente soy de California. I lived my whole
Originalmente soy de California. Dude, what's going on?
life there. I grew up there. Americana, hecha derecha. And
Ooh, I should have said estadounidense. Funada.
I started learning Spanish when I was 14. De hecho, soy la única persona en toda mi familia que habla español.
That's still true, actually. I'm the only person in my family who speaks Spanish.
It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. But I always love learning languages. And since I'm from the south of California, many people
I love how I say the south of California instead of southern California. Like, my English was
are
so
Latino or speak Spanish. And so I was kind of always like surrounded by the world of Spain and Spanish and Latino people. And I actually love Spanish so much that I decided that I actually wanted to study lengua española for my título, like my degree in university. Y ahí es donde empieza la historia de Maddie en España.
Y ahí es donde empieza la historia de la Maddie en España. Wow. Well, you can go watch the rest of this video if you want. I've actually told this story more recently with more detail. But more than anything, it's just so strange to hear myself speaking with a Spanish accent, both in English and in Spanish. All right, last video that we're going to take a look at today, I think is one of the last videos that I filmed in Spain. This was on a short trip I took to Andalucía before leaving.
Hace mucho que no bajo al sur de España. Ahora mismo estoy en Cádiz. Hola Cádiz, qué bonito. Después de haber
Ay, Cádiz es muy lindo. If you have the chance to go to Cádiz, España, I recommend it.
estado aquí unos 2 o 3 días, I remember why I love Andalucía so much. La gente aquí es tan abierta, tan buena, tan divertida.
Huh. You know what's weird about this video is I actually feel that my accent is starting to sound a little more Chilean again, or like Latino. And I don't know why, because this was made to be filmed a couple weeks after the previous videos I just showed you. And I guess my prediction or my guess here would be that maybe it's because I started like reconnecting with some of my Latino friends knowing that I was going to move back to the US. But yeah, my accent all of a sudden is like not that Spanish anymore. I don't know.
Tan payasa, lo que me encanta. Cada vez que voy a un restaurante, a un bar, me saludan, me hablan bien, son divertidos. Además, lo que me encanta de Andalucía es el acento. Como soy una guiri bien floja, bien lazy.
Sí, soy una gringa bien floja todavía, pero ahora hablo como latina. Bueno, well, what a trip down memory lane it has been. My goodness. Did it feel good? I don't know. Honestly, reflecting on this now, though, I can say I'm gonna speak positively to my previous self, okay? Looking at these videos is really interesting and fun, scary, but different. Just because of the fact that it really helps me put into perspective how far I've come on my Spanish learning journey. Like, I was not given the privilege in life to start learning Spanish, you know, at 3 years old or 4 years old or put in an immersion program. A lot of the work that I did to improve my Spanish over the years was just grit, dude. And I remember being in college, and when I studied my Spanish degree, I was usually one of the only gringas in the room. And I remember many times I felt less than in a way, or like I wasn't in a place where I belonged. And that feeling carried with me for a long time. I even remember in high school, a lot of my peers, you know, didn't care about Spanish like I did. And my teachers didn't really recognize the drive that I had. And so it wasn't really until finishing college that I finally kind of felt that I don't know, instinct that maybe okay, I am fluent now. And being fluent now and thinking about how easy it is for me, you know, to speak Spanish, I oftentimes disregard how much work it took and how different I used to be, right? Not only in my Spanish speaking, but the way that I thought, my knowledge of the world, you know? And even looking back at this video I just showed you guys, seeing myself before coming back to the US, not having any idea that I was gonna work as a content creator in the Spanish speaking sector, or that I would become a Spanish teacher. It's kind of amazing and cool to see how far I've come in the last 4 years. So I feel super grateful as always to be here. And another thing I wanted to say is that besides making you laugh, I hope that this video also has inspired maybe those of you who are learning a language or who are on this journey yourself. Maybe you're in those earlier years and feeling like how I felt in high school. And hopefully this serves to you as an example that maybe even if nobody believes in you, or if your Spanish is not so great so far, that doesn't mean that it won't be in the future, and that doesn't mean that you can't do it, right? At the end of the day, it's all about your passion and pushing through and continuing to learn and teach yourself every single day. But yeah, I was not always perfect. I'm still not perfect today, but it's a good reminder as always to jump back to that time in my life and know that, you know, I had to work something to get to where I am today. Another thing I would suggest for those of you who are learning right now is to maybe actually go ahead and record some videos of yourself speaking Spanish so that you can look back on them one day. Although it's very difficult and very cringy to watch these, it's also inspiring in a way because it reminds you how far you've come. On that note, thank you guys so much as always for being here and for enjoying these videos. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. And yeah, thanks for cringing with me today y nos vemos en el próximo video. Ciao!